The highway stretched endlessly ahead, a cracked black ribbon under a starless sky. It was close to midnight, and the world outside our car felt completely empty. No houses, no other cars, no sign of life, just the faint, far-apart glow of old yellow streetlights. Liam was driving, his hands tapping lightly on the steering wheel. I sat in the passenger seat, staring at the GPS on my phone. We had taken a back route to save time, but now it felt like a mistake. The road looked older here, and the darkness pressed in on all sides. "Creepy, huh?" Liam said with a small grin. "Yeah," I muttered. "Feels like we're the only people out here." "Maybe we are," he joked, but his smile faded quickly. The radio crackled suddenly, the talk show we were listening to cutting out mid-sentence. Liam turned the dial, but every station was just static, a strange, low static that almost sounded like whispering. After a few tries, he switched it off, and the silence in the car felt heavier than before. I cracked the window, hoping for fresh air, but a faint metallic smell drifted in, like rust or dried blood. I shut it quickly. As we drove, I noticed the streetlights flickering. Some buzzed weakly, others didn't light at all, leaving long stretches of black where the headlights barely reached. The darkness between each light felt thick, almost like it was swallowing the road. "Hey, when's the last time we saw another car?" I asked. Liam thought for a moment. "Not since that gas station, maybe 40 minutes ago." I looked in the rearview mirror. No headlights behind us, just an endless void. The air inside the car seemed heavier now, harder to breathe. I rubbed my arms, realizing I had goosebumps. We passed under another light. It flickered violently, buzzing loud enough to hear from inside the car. As we crossed beneath it, it went out completely. The road ahead was swallowed in darkness. Liam slowed slightly, his eyes fixed on the black stretch in front of us. My chest tightened, a strange unease crawling up my spine. Something about this road didn't feel right. And deep down, I had the sinking feeling we were heading somewhere we weren't meant to find. The darkness ahead felt like a wall. Liam's headlights pushed through it, but only for a short distance. Beyond that there was nothing, no trees, no signs, just black. The road felt different here, like the asphalt was rougher. The car's tires made a low, uneven hum, and I swore I felt a slight vibration under my feet. I glanced at Liam, and he looked tense now, both hands gripping the wheel tighter than before. The next streetlight in the distance flickered. Once. Twice. Then again, the flashes almost in rhythm with the thud of the tires. My stomach tightened. It was such a small thing, but it felt wrong. We passed under it, and for a split second, I thought I saw something standing in the light, a shape tall and still just off the edge of the road. But before my eyes could focus, the bulb blinked out, and we were back in darkness. I didn't say anything. Maybe it was my imagination. The radio popped on by itself, hissing softly. It wasn't a normal static sound. It was softer, almost like a breath in my ear. I reached forward to turn it off, but just before my fingers touched the dial, a faint voice came through. Too low to understand, but it was speaking fast, almost like a whispering chant. Liam swore under his breath and turned the radio off with a quick twist. The silence that followed was so deep it hurt my ears. The next light up ahead flickered violently. This time, the bulb stayed on long enough for me to see the same shape again, closer now. It stood right beside the white line on the road's shoulder. "Liam, did you see?" "Yeah," he said quickly, eyes locked on the road. "I saw it." We passed under the light, and just like before, it blinked out as soon as we were beneath it. The shape was gone. I turned in my seat, staring into the rearview mirror. For a moment, I thought the darkness behind us shifted, like it was moving. Liam didn't speed up, but I could tell by his clenched jaw he wanted to. Whatever was out here, it didn't feel like it was just watching us anymore. It felt like it was following. The road ahead was empty again, but my eyes stayed fixed on the glow of the next streetlight in the distance. I didn't want to look away. Something inside me was screaming that if I blinked, I'd miss something important. Liam's hands were locked around the steering wheel, his knuckles pale. The hum of the tires was steady, but I could hear his uneven breathing. Then, from the edge of the light, it appeared. At first, it looked like a person, tall, thin, standing perfectly still in the center of the lane. But as we got closer, I realized I couldn't make out any features. No face, no clothes, no details at all. It was just a solid, black shape, darker than the darkness around it. "Is that a guy?" I whispered. Liam didn't answer. We were 20 meters away when it tilted its head slightly, as if listening. My pulse pounded in my ears. "Slow down," I said. Liam shook his head. "No. If I slow down it might." The shadow moved. It didn't step aside like a normal person. It glided smoothly, almost lazily, shifting its weight in an unnatural way. For a moment it was right in front of us, and I braced for impact. But Liam swerved sharply, tires screeching as the car veered into the other lane. The shape passed just inches from my window, and in that split second, I thought I saw a face. Not a human face. 2 hollow pits where eyes should be. A mouth stretched too wide, as if grinning. Then it was gone. The car straightened out, but my hands were gripping the seat so hard my fingers ached. I turned to look behind us. The road was empty. "Where the hell did it go?" I said, voice shaking. "It's gone," Liam muttered, but his voice didn't sound convinced. Up ahead, the next stretch of road was completely dark. No streetlights at all. Just an endless tunnel of black waiting for us. And deep inside that darkness, I thought I saw the shape again. Closer this time. The highway felt endless, each mile heavier than the last. Liam's face was pale in the dim glow of the dashboard lights, and I could tell he was trying to act calm for my sake. Then, through the foggy windshield, a flicker of neon appeared ahead. A gas station. It sat on the side of the road like it had been forgotten decades ago. The sign's red neon letters buzzed faintly. Some of them burned out so the name was unreadable. 2 ancient pumps stood under a rusted metal canopy, their paint peeling and hoses hanging limp. Liam slowed the car, pulling in beside one of the pumps. The engine noise faded, and the silence around us felt unnatural. Too deep, like the air was absorbing every sound. "I'll grab something to drink," I said, trying to sound casual. My voice felt too loud. The glass door to the shop creaked as I pushed it open. A single fluorescent light flickered overhead, casting a sickly yellow glow over the dusty shelves. Old snack bags sat untouched, their colors faded. A cooler hummed in the back, but the sound wavered, like it was struggling to work. Behind the counter stood the cashier. He was a thin man in a faded blue uniform, his skin pale and waxy, as if he hadn't been in the sun for years. He didn't greet me. He didn't even blink, just stared, his eyes glassy, his lips pressed in a tight, unnatural smile. "Adjust these," I muttered, placing 2 bottles of water on the counter. His gaze didn't shift. His hands, slow and stiff, rang up the purchase. When he handed me the change, his skin was cold, unnaturally cold, like touching metal left out in winter. I backed toward the door. As I stepped outside, I glanced back. He was still staring, his head slightly tilted now, as if listening to something I couldn't hear. Liam was already in the car, engine running. "That guy give you the creeps too?" he asked. I nodded, shoving the drinks into the cup holder. As we pulled away, I glanced in the side mirror. The cashier was standing in the doorway now, still watching us. And smiling. We left the gas station behind, the dim neon glow shrinking in the distance until it was swallowed by the dark. For a few minutes, the road felt normal again, if you could call an empty highway at midnight normal. Then I noticed the haze. It started as a thin mist clinging to the road, glowing faintly in the headlights. But within minutes, it thickened into a dense fog that wrapped around the car like a living thing. The beams from the headlights didn't cut through it. They seemed to vanish into the white. Liam slowed down, leaning forward in his seat. Can you even see the lines? Barely, I said. The yellow divider was faint, like it was fading away beneath us. The fog wasn't normal. It didn't drift or swirl like mist should. It shifted, twisting into shapes that almost looked like people standing just beyond the edge of the road. Every time I blinked, the shapes were gone. We drove in silence for a while. The only sound was the muffled hum of the engine, dampened by the thick air pressing in around us. I tried opening the window for fresh air, but the smell that rushed in made my stomach turn. It was the same metallic scent from earlier, stronger now. I closed the window quickly, heart pounding. This doesn't feel right, Liam. I know, he said, his voice low. A shadow flickered in the fog ahead. At first I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks, but then it moved, crossing the road slowly, too slow to be a person running. Liam's grip on the wheel tightened. Did you see that? Yeah. We passed the spot where it had been, but there was nothing, just more fog curling against the glass. And then, I realized the radio was on again. It hissed softly, the static breaking into faint whispers. They weren't in English, but the rhythm sounded deliberate, like chanting. My skin prickled, and I reached to turn it off. The whispers stopped on their own. The silence that followed was heavier than before. Somewhere out in the fog, I heard footsteps, and they were keeping pace with the car. The fog was so thick now it felt like we were driving inside a cloud. Every few seconds, I thought I saw movement in it, a shadow, a flicker, something gliding just out of view. Liam's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. We're getting out of this soon, he muttered, more to himself than to me. I glanced down at my phone, checking the GPS. The little blue arrow showed us moving, but the road had no name, no landmarks, no exits. Just a gray line stretching forward forever. When I looked up again, my stomach dropped. The driver's seat was empty. The car was still moving, the wheel turning slightly in the lane as if guided by invisible hands. My breath caught in my throat. Liam. I twisted around, expecting him to be in the back seat, maybe messing with me. But the back seat was empty too. The only sound was the muffled thrum of the engine and the faint hiss of the fog brushing against the car. I grabbed the wheel, heart racing, and pressed the brakes. The tires squealed on the wet asphalt, and the car came to a shuddering stop. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped them from the wheel. Liam. I shouted into the fog. My voice echoed strangely. The sound swallowed almost immediately. No answer. I opened the door and stepped onto the road. The fog pressed against me like a wall, cold and damp. My breath came out in short, white bursts. That's when I saw it. Something on the passenger seat. Liam's phone. It was cracked, the screen faintly glowing. A video was playing. I hesitated, then picked it up. The video showed the inside of the car from Liam's point of view. The fog outside was even thicker, and in the passenger seat, where I should have been, sat someone else. A man. His skin was pale, almost gray. His lips stretched into a wide, unnatural smile. His black eyes stared directly into the camera. The video ended suddenly. And then somewhere out in the fog, I heard Liam scream. My hands trembled as I stared at Liam's cracked phone. The screen was dim, but the video icon was still there, waiting. My instincts screamed to toss it into the fog and run, but I couldn't. I tapped the screen. Another video began playing. This time, the camera angle was strange, low, as if Liam had dropped the phone in his lap while driving. The dashboard lights glowed faintly, casting shadows across his face. He was breathing hard, his eyes darting between the road and the passenger seat. Then he glanced directly into the camera, his lips moving. At first, I thought there was no sound, but faintly, beneath the hum of the car, I heard him whisper my name. The camera shifted slightly, and I saw the passenger seat again. It wasn't me sitting there. The pale man from the previous video was closer now, leaning toward Liam, his smile wider. His teeth were sharp, pointed, and too many for a human mouth. His black eyes didn't blink. The video glitched, the image warping. When it cleared, the man's head had turned toward the camera, toward me. It felt like he could see me through the screen. The smile vanished. Slowly, his mouth opened wider and wider until it split unnaturally, stretching far beyond his jaw. A deep, guttural sound rumbled from inside, like a growl and a whisper at the same time. The camera shook violently. Liam shouted something I couldn't make out. The pale man lunged. The screen went black. I lowered the phone, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. The fog around me seemed thicker, almost pressing closer. Somewhere in the distance, faint footsteps echoed on the asphalt, slow and deliberate. Then the phone vibrated in my hand. An incoming call. The caller ID made my stomach drop. My own number. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the answer button. The phone kept buzzing, the sound sharp in the suffocating silence. Finally, I swiped to answer. At first, there was nothing. Then my own voice spoke on the other end. You shouldn't be here. The line went dead. The phone went silent in my hand, the dead call leaving a hollow ringing in my ears. The fog seemed to thicken with every breath, curling in slow, unnatural swirls that moved against the wind. Then I heard it, soft whispers all around me. They didn't come from one direction. They were everywhere, above, below, beside me, circling like predators. The voices spoke too fast to understand, but I could feel the intent behind them. They weren't welcoming me. They were warning me. Or maybe taunting me. My pulse hammered as I took a step back toward the car. That's when I saw them. At first, they were just faint shapes in the fog, tall and thin, like shadows cast by people standing far away. But with each blink, they became clearer. Figures. Dozens of them. They lined both sides of the road. Their outlines faint but their heads all tilted at the same strange angle, as if listening to something only they could hear. None of them moved, yet I had the awful feeling they were inching closer whenever I wasn't looking directly at them. I gripped Liam's phone tighter, backing toward the driver's side door. My breath fogged in the cold air, but theirs didn't. In fact, they didn't breathe at all. One of the figures stepped forward. It was taller than the rest, its body impossibly thin. Its face was hidden in shadow, but its eyes, two dim white glows, locked onto me. The whispers grew louder, overlapping into a frantic hiss. My ears rang with them, and my vision swam. I reached the car door and yanked it open, throwing myself into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, the sound breaking the eerie rhythm of the whispers. For a second, the figures froze. Then as I slammed my foot on the gas, they moved, sliding forward across the road without lifting their feet, their heads still tilted. The car shot forward into the fog, but I could feel them following, their shapes flickering in and out of the mist like they were part of it. I didn't know where I was going anymore. I just knew I couldn't let them catch me. The fog swallowed the road ahead, my headlights barely cutting through it. I kept glancing into the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the figures right behind me, but all I saw was shifting white mist. Liam's phone lay on the passenger seat, the cracked screen glowing faintly. I didn't remember turning it on, but a new notification pulsed on the display. One new video. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I should have ignored it, kept driving until I found anything, anywhere, that wasn't this endless highway. But my curiosity was stronger than my fear. I snatched the phone up with one hand, still steering with the other. The video opened automatically. It was dark, the image shaky, but I recognized the inside of my car. Liam's breathing filled the speakers, fast, panicked. The fog outside was so thick it looked solid. Then slowly, a shape emerged from the white. The pale man. He stood in front of the car, smiling, his head tilted slightly. His lips moved, but no sound came from the video. Instead, a whisper seeped from the speakers, soft at first, then growing louder, until it was almost deafening. It was my name. Over and over. The pale man stepped closer to the camera. His face filled the screen, every detail sharp despite the grainy footage. His eyes were black voids. His skin cracked at the edges of his mouth as his smile widened unnaturally. The whispering stopped. In perfect clarity, his voice spoke, not to Liam, to me. Stop the car. The video ended abruptly, replaced by the call screen. Incoming, call me. I froze. The same as before, my number, my name. My own voice answering last time. The phone kept ringing. My breath came fast and shallow as I pressed the green button. At first, nothing. Then I heard it, a faint scraping sound, like nails dragging across metal. Followed by my own voice. They're already inside. I dropped the phone. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror. In the back seat, through the shifting fog inside the car, something moved. The phone lay face down on the passenger seat, its faint glow leaking through the cracks in the screen. I didn't dare pick it up again. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ached. But my eyes kept flicking to the rearview mirror. At first, I thought it was just the fog filling the back seat. Then I saw it move, slow, deliberate, shifting like liquid shadow. A shape began to form. Too dim. White glows appeared where eyes should be. They stared at me through the mirror, unblinking. My stomach clenched so hard I thought I'd be sick. Get out! The voice was low, almost a growl, but it wasn't coming from the back seat. It was coming from inside my head. I slammed my foot on the gas. The car jolted forward, engine roaring, but the figure didn't flinch. Instead, it leaned closer, its outline solidifying. The fog clung to it like it was wearing it as a cloak. Its mouth opened slowly. I expected teeth. But there was nothing. Just a deep, endless darkness inside. Like a tunnel leading somewhere I did not want to go. The radio clicked on by itself, blaring with whispers. Dozens of voices overlapping in a frenzied chant. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone made my skin crawl. I risked a glance over my shoulder. The back seat was empty, but in the rearview mirror, it was still there. And now, its hand was reaching forward, through the reflection, its long gray fingers stretching toward my face. I jerked the mirror downward so it pointed at the floor. My heart hammered in my chest. The road ahead blurring as panic clawed at me. For a moment there was silence. Then a cold touch brushed the back of my neck. I swerved, nearly losing control of the car. The touch was gone, but the air behind me felt heavier. Like something was still sitting there, just out of sight. I didn't dare look back. I just kept driving, knowing whatever it was wasn't finished with me yet. The highway stretched endlessly ahead, a black ribbon disappearing into the night. I could see no towns, no signs, just the dim white lines flashing under my headlights. I told myself I just needed to reach somewhere, anywhere, with people. But deep down I knew it wouldn't matter. Whatever was with me wasn't bound to the road. The phone on the seat lit up again. This time it wasn't a notification. It was a call. The screen showed one word. Me. I didn't want to answer. Every instinct screamed not to. But my shaking hand moved on its own, lifting the phone to my ear. For a moment, there was nothing, just the faint hiss of static. Then softly a voice came through. Why did you leave me? It was Liam. My best friend. I almost crashed. My throat tightened, tears welling up. Liam? Where are you? What happened? His voice cracked, like he was crying. It's cold. So cold. You're coming too, right? The static swelled, drowning his words. Beneath it, I heard something else. Wet dragging sounds, like something crawling closer. Liam, tell me where you are. I'll come get you. I shouted. The static stopped abruptly. The line went dead. But the call didn't end. I realized I was still holding the phone to my ear. And now I could hear breathing. Deep, slow, right against the microphone. Then the voice spoke again. Only it wasn't Liam this time. It was deeper. Wrong. Almost amused. He's here with me. I froze. My grip on the wheel loosened. The voice continued, softer now, almost a whisper. You'll see him soon. The phone went black in my hand. My reflection stared back at me in the dark screen. But it wasn't alone. Over my shoulder, just behind my head, was another face. Pale. Smiling. I dropped the phone. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror. The back seat was full. Dozens of faces pressed close, their mouths open in silent screams, their hollow eyes locked on me. The headlights ahead flickered, then went out completely. The last thing I heard before everything went black was Liam's voice. Thanks for coming.